on sick leave, and Tasneem was still on family responsibility and sick also. But yesterday I called Tasneem to assist with some part of the committee work. But today we are having a portfolio committee to adopt the report. And Crystal is telling them that she's struggling to connect. You know, for us as the portfolio committee, this is not fair at all. Because if one of them who's supposed to be in the committee can't connect, that person must ensure that there is somebody else who's going to do the work on her behalf. We can't sit here as the committee and somebody's telling us that is struggling to connect. That excuse is not acceptable, because everybody else knows, even members, they know if where they are they can't connect, they must move from that one area to another area. And it can be correct that now we're in a meeting, we're waiting for our researcher or any content advisor who must present the report and be replaced by someone if that one is not available, and now we're stuck. I'm telling Nelisa now, it's not about a favor. People are hired to do their job. They're not doing us a favor. It's understandable when there are serious things, but they must communicate with you so that you send somebody to come and present and stand on their behalf. We are not going to continue. We'll wait for somebody else to stand on the place of Crystal to come and present the report to us, because that person must take note. My apologies, honorable members. You know, sometimes when you are nice, they take you for granted. And I don't want to take us for a ride.
Let's try, let's try.
Yeah, because we've been quiet all along. We've been working, Nina and us, we've been working.
Let's try, let's try.
I don't know how. I understand, you know, Crystal, Tasneem was having a very serious challenge. The father got an accident, a very bad one. And she's staying with the parents. And also, as the family, they had to deal with some very serious issues. Okashiva, I know her condition. She became sick because I think also she was overworked subcommittee. Crystal, she can't go with some very serious issues. She can't come to Gauteng for the subcommittee work. I agreed. No, let's have all along, because I think also she was overworked. But now we're making time for her to service us. Crystal, she was struggling. She can't go with somebody very serious issues. She can't come to Gauteng for the subcommittee work. I can't tell you. We called her yesterday. No, she was trying to get some other things. I can't come to Gauteng. But now we're making time for her to service us. No, let's have all along, because I think also she was overworked. But now she was struggling. She can't go with somebody very serious. She can't come to Gauteng for the subcommittee. I our committee report. Honorable members.
phone call just to ask how far she is with logging up?
No, I called their manager about adoption of our committee report. I called their manager already, honorable members, that she must sort it out. You don't know what happened to us when we were dealing with the NYDA thing.
Just to ask how far she is with logging up?
No, I called them. But have you gone through, honorable members, to the report? Did you reach a report? Their manager already, honorable members, that she must sort it out. Hello?
Yes, Chair.
You don't know what happened to us when we were dealing with the Hello? 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 Hello?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
I could possibly just go straight into our observations and recommendations, but that's up to Chairperson, not their guidance, if you want me to go through the whole document or just start from the observations and recommendations.
Start with the go-to programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leave the overview, a go-to program, program 1.
Okay.
Program 2, program 3, and just highlight the critical issues there.
Okay.
Yeah, just highlight in each and every program. Just highlight the critical things there.
Okay.
And then go straight to observations by the committee.
Okay.
And then what are the and the recommendations?
Okay.
You know, and then what we are going to do will then go back to observations and see how do we correct on the observations and add other things that are not there, and then go to. We have read the report, so we know where we think there are things that are not captured well, because even myself, when I was looking at the report, I was thinking that the other point that is important is mental health and depression.
Okay.
And reproductive health, which I think it should be added in the report. You can also check even yourself where can we capture it in a correct form.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start from program 1.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'll start on page 2 then, just with the department. So the first part there, 2.1, around the implications of the pandemic on the mandate of the department.
Yeah.
So the department has said to us that overall the mandate stays the same. However, because of the pandemic, this has now placed additional demands on the department, particularly in relation to forming a component of government's overall response and interventions to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on women, youth, and persons with disabilities. Also, some of the activities have been affected, especially those ones where they were dealing with communities directly, and also around travel for them. But also that the things around the pandemic and the situation has also provided them with new vantage points and opened up new opportunities for them to be innovative in their approach to issues around women, youth development, and disability rights. So overall, we know that the department it also received a reduction. So overall, there was a reduction of 133.2 million to the department's overall appropriation, but that includes the money for the CGE and the NYDA. So if we take that away, the department at the beginning of this year had 210 million rand for their own operations. And so 25.9 million of that has been taken away with the adjustment, mostly from their goods and services budget. So that leaves them with just over 180 million rand to meet their targets for the rest of the financial year. So obviously it restricts some of the economic activity and some of the activities that they wanted to undertake. And a lot of the money has been reprioritized for the procurement of ICT equipment to enable the officials to work remotely. So the department says that in terms of the reprioritization, it's primarily been made in the following areas, and I'm at the bottom of page 3 now. So activities directly affected by the COVID pandemic, including venues and facilities, catering, domestic and international travel, subsistence and accommodation, reduction in the use of external service providers for technical expertise, increases in provision for tools of trade to enable officials to work from home and strengthen their ICT systems, including video conferencing. And then in terms of the budget program, I've given an overview there of the total programs. So for administration, the budget for administration remains unchanged. So they haven't reduced anything there. In the social transformation and economic empowerment program, there's been a 9.4 million rand reduction. Policy coordination and knowledge management, there's been an 11.1 million reduction. In the disability program, program 4, they've gone from 19.9 to 14.6, which is a 5.2 million reduction. And the youth development program, they've reduced by 1.3 million from 12.7 to 11.3. So there members can see the overall reduction from 210 to 182.7 million is what they will have for operating. I think the members highlighted this, and also the department raised that yes, they've been able to digitize some of the information and they have virtual engagement, but it's a problem for communities that lack access to this kind of technology and to data. And so members also highlighted that they need to find different ways to engage with communities and still be able to reach them despite these kinds of challenges. In terms of changes to targets, under Program 1, in the regional APP, they had 7 targets. In their presentation to us, they had 9 targets. So the additional things that they added there was around the ICT strategy and plan. They also indicated to us that the wage bill, they would move that to the next financial year because there's currently a high volume of legislation for consideration before Parliament. So they propose moving that. And also that there would be anticipated delays for them to complete the HR plan. In terms of Program 2, as said earlier, the interventions around communities. So they had planned a number of interventions to support economic empowerment and the participation of women, youth, and persons with disabilities. And so they will adapt that to use remote and virtual means now because they cannot have the community engagement there. They've also added more targets, specifically under the National Gender Machinery Framework. They've got biannual reports on gender-based violence and femicide and the NSV implementation, integrating the national plan priorities into all APPs of relevant national departments, having biannual meetings with NGM, and developing and approving the GBVF monitoring and evaluation system. So those were the new targets they added under there. In terms of Program 3, they've removed or they proposed to remove their target around the integrated knowledge hub and model because they were going to depend on external consultants to do that program or to do that activity. And so because of the budget cut, they were removing that program or that activity for now. Also, the things around inception reports on the empowerment of women that they were going to produce, they are shifting that target as well. And it will be undertaken over two financial years, also due to budget cuts. Again, the stakeholder engagements, they're also going to be doing via virtual means. And they've removed the community mobilization initiatives there as well because of the pandemic and because of the budget cuts. Under Program 4, they are proposing to move the target on strengthening the national gender machinery and around the bill. And members did raise concerns around that and that this needs to be prioritized. Under Program 5, they've added the shareholder performance agreement between the department and the NYDA to be developed and signed as a new target, and also having a national youth machinery framework developed and consulted as a new target. So those are all the changes for the department. Would you like me to go to the recommendations and observations for the department or to continue with the NYDA's main changes now, Chairperson?
Let's deal with the ones, the observations of the department first. Okay.
Let me just get to that quickly.
Yeah, because the mental health and mental health and depression.
Okay.
Reproductive health, it should be captured here in the one department.
Okay, so around observations for the department, 5.1 on page 18. So firstly, the committee thanked the department for their presentation.
It's 5.1.
5.1, yes, Chairperson. Page 18, the bottom of page 18.
Okay.
Okay. So the committee thanked the department for their presentation and requested them to indicate whether the adjusted APPs will be achieved or will be carried over to the next financial year. They also requested the department to provide the rationale for the retraction of funds in the advocacy and mainstreaming program because this plays a pivotal role in raising awareness around gender-based violence and femicide. And the committee further wanted to know which policy implementations were affected by the adjustments. The committee raised concerns about the increasing levels of gender-based violence and femicide and the brutality with which women and children were losing their lives. It appealed to the department to monitor and intervene in this regard. The committee also commented that persons with disabilities expressed sentiments of exclusion and inquired as to whether there were no other alternative options than the target of the national disability rights machinery. The committee inquired whether there is any evidence to support the proposed option. The department was also urged to prioritize the Disability Rights Bill. A concern was also raised around the delays in the opening of special schools, in particular schools for the blind. The department was urged to extend the closing date for the submission of public comments on the draft National Youth Policy to give opportunity to all youth formations to submit their comments. The department indicated that it extended the closing date to 28 April and that physical consultations were held in all 9 provinces. Inputs were also received via various virtual and social media platforms, and a webinar was hosted on 29th June with stakeholders across the youth sector to discuss comments and get buy-in for the finalization of the process. The committee commended the department on finalizing the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence. The committee inquired as to the progress of the monitoring and evaluation tool to monitor and evaluate the implementation of the plan. It requested the timeframes and budget allocated to the plan, and the committee highlighted the importance of the plan, of the framework as a tool for oversight. The committee noted that in 2019-20, the budget for persons with disabilities did not include that the budget for the department rather, did not include that of persons with disabilities, as it was still under the Department of Social Development, and inquired whether the budget was now included in the 2021 financial year. It also inquired which legislation will be covered by the Department for Persons with Disabilities. The committee was concerned that the budget on mass mobilization was decreased due to COVID-19 and questioned how the department would reach women in rural areas. The department acknowledged that it did not want to broaden the divide between persons who do not have access to data and other virtual means and those who do. The committee concurred, and the department was urged to have other means to raise awareness campaigns on issues related to women in order to reach those in rural areas. The committee was concerned that messaging around COVID-19 and its prevention and consequences were not reaching all communities, as information was not being prepared and shared in all languages. The committee wanted to know whether the department is monitoring and ensuring that UIF reaches the affected parties, for example, women and persons with disabilities. And the committee noted an instance where SAPS had not assisted illegal immigrants to open cases related to gender-based violence and inquired as to how the department assists women who are illegal immigrants in this regard. The committee also wanted to know whether cases of abuse for illegal immigrants are counted by Stats SA. The committee requested more information on the Sanitary Dignity Program during the COVID-19 period. So those are the main observations, Chairperson, under the department. So you wanted to...
I don't know whether I heard you well. There was reduction on in one of the programs that deals with
the advocacy and mainstreaming program.
Yeah, that one, and then the one of vacancies. Remember, there was, oh, I'm mixing them.
Yeah, the CGE is around the vacancies, Chairperson.
And then the department. It was not having anything regarding a reduction of the budget in vacancies, in where they are funded posts, but they are not going to employ anyone.
It was the CGE, Chairperson.
The department was okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Chairperson, you wanted me to add something around mental health and sexual and reproductive health.
Yeah. Yeah. Where in which program can we put it? Let's look at their strategic plan. In their strat plan, what did they say in their programs in terms of things that they've prioritized, especially where we talk about gender-based violence. You remember?
Yes, Chairperson. So they didn't have a specific indicator around mental health and sexual and reproductive health, but I think it's something that we can then include to say that the committee, in the wake of gender-based violence and femicide, the committee is concerned about the mental health and well-being and sexual and reproductive rights of women. We could add that and encourages the department to prioritize activities around this in terms of providing support. Something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Chairperson, can I just add something with regards to mental health?
Yeah.
Chair, I agree with you. I think it's important. I think I've raised mental health multiple times, but it's not only for women, Crystal. I think mental health it must include the boy child.
Yeah.
It must include the boy child, Chairperson. And the reason why I say this is because too often there are young men who don't know how to handle their emotions and their feelings, and sometimes they just need somebody to speak to. So I would even encourage that the committee speak about social workers and the importance of social workers to provide counseling, specifically when it comes to trauma. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I
Chair,
think. Sorry,
yes, Umasiko, Chair.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was responding on where we propose as a committee to correctly place the issue of mental health. And I think it would fit quite well under Program 2 on social transformation. And we couple that with the programs that they are doing in terms of the community mobilization and outreach programs. I think mental health will fall correctly under Program 2. And it also includes the one that member Sharif has also mentioned in terms of the social workers. I think it would be correctly placed there under Program 2. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can I just read what I've drafted and then I just hear whether the members are okay with that? Just a sentence. So the committee raised concerns around the mental health for women, youth, and persons with disabilities, and as well as the sexual and reproductive rights of women and girls in the wake of high incidence of gender-based violence and femicide.
Repeat that again.
The committee raised concerns around the mental health of women, what should I say, mental health services for women, youth, and persons with disabilities, as well as the sexual and reproductive rights of women and girls, given the high rates of gender-based violence and femicide.
Yeah, and we want that point to be captured. When you say youth, it covers. That means even a boy child will be covered.
Or I can put in brackets, in particular, the boy child of the youth.
What? Yeah.
I think youth covers
maybe
it.
not in particular.
I think youth covers it.
Is it fine with youth then? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know what? The other thing that I was thinking, you see, during this period of COVID-19, the other stresses that we are going through, especially our people, is that there is high rate of people losing their jobs.
Okay.
Which is a concern, and mostly women. Yesterday, I was watching TV. Somebody was presenting something that women are the most affected one in terms of job loss, because they are in that category of earning lower salaries. Most women are in that category of earning lower salaries. And that person was saying, I think the percentage of women is very high. If you can check that thing, and check whether even states, what did stats SA is saying about job losses for women. That person was talking that about that in lower categories, the most people who are affected in job loss, it's women. And remember, women are the ones who are responsible for bringing up children, feeding the families, and so on and so on. I'm just thinking about what I heard yesterday on TV, that when we put concerns, how can we coin it? Whether so obviously the issue of mental health and depression, it will address that point, because you can imagine how many women, if many women now they start to be depressed because they are out of work and the children are hungry and they can't now feed their families, they can't take their children to school and so on. There will be too much pressure to women. So I'm just thinking about this thing. But I think maybe honorable members, none of you can assist me, because I'm just thinking of this thing. Because men, Sherry, honorable, correct that, in fact, men can take pressure like you know, we are very strong.
Yes.
Yeah, Mama.
Okay, thanks, Chairperson. Good morning, everybody. Chairperson, we are in touch somewhere mawukhuluma ngendaba yokuluza imisebenzi kwabantu during this COVID-19 in this lockdown period. Is serious kakhulu, Chairperson. I-affecta abomama kakhulu, ndiyavuma, but nabotata at the same time. For instance, here in Marikana, kunama contract, kunezimine, abantu barojiwe, I mean, andazi ngizoyibeka kanjani, Chairperson, you gonna correct me, bathe mabayohlala kwi-lockdown because bavalile during the first time of the lockdown, March. So during the time bakwi-lockdown, they just get the letters that umsebenzi uphelile, they retrenched at the same time without letting them know. And then EUIF abayitholi at the same time. Kabaya kwi-CCMAs abakhona ukungena ema-ofisini, kuvaliwe, ama-350 rand we-COVID relief fund abayifumani. Kuthiwa basesemsebenzini bayasebenza. So ndizama ukuthi, Chairperson, I support you kule ndawo yokuthi this COVID-19 abantu abaningi kakhulu baluze umsebenzi and kubuhlungu, bayalamba. That's why abanye khona ngoku sebe-resulta bezi-beggars beqhekeza amashophu ngoba bafuna ukutya balambile. Yes, Chairperson.
Yeah, the impact of COVID-19 in our communities. Honorable Masigo, Honorable Mkweba, Sis Joyce, as something, when they do advocacy, I'm agreeing with you, in the issue of social workers for counseling and comfort, it's important. But Masiko propose program 2, under program 2. Just help us with where can we fit what we're discussing now, or whether as we put in observation or a concern of mental health and depression, that thing is going to be covered now.
Chair, my hand is up.
Yeah.
Yes. I think, Chairperson, you have raised a very important point, and I was thinking about that when Christelle was reading that sentence, and she ended with issues of the word gender-based violence. I think we need to include issue COVID-19 in that same sentence, because it's issue the increased levels of mental health effect on women is caused by, I don't want to say it's a byproduct, but it's a direct cause as well. COVID-19. One of the issues, Chairperson, that we had also raised with the NYDA, and that's why I'm saying that it is overcovered in under program 2, is the issue of even the young women in tertiary institutions are affected by COVID-19. And that has also affected them. Number one, we are picking up that there's a high level of dropout, and those issues are also due to mental health problems that young women are facing in tertiary institutions. So I think is covered. The additions that we're making in the line or the sentence that Christelle has read. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Masiko. Honorable Maluleke.
No, I think Honorable Masiko has covered me, because I wanted to say on that sentence that we are talking about the mental health, we must also state that it is due to coronavirus period. So she has covered me. And this thing of social workers, I think it can also go in. Thank you, Chair.
Yo, Sis Joyce, ikukhathe kakhulu kanjani? Yeah, ikukhathe kakhulu. And
I have a problem. I always go in and out. I'm not sure what.
Who is struggling? Sis Joyce, yazi nomona lento ukuthi ungakhulumi. Sis Joyce? Ngiyabona uMam Sonti, no, ngiyabona honorable Mama Sonti, ngiyabona honorable Sheriff. Sis Joyce, when iyakhatha iyakushaya. But also in doing advocacy, in them doing advocacy, this issue of
I think we said I don't
yekela uzaphinda ubuye. Yes, Sis Joyce. Honorable Maluleke. Okay, we'll come back to you.
Chairperson?
Able.
Can I, so I think maybe we can make those 2 observations, if you'll allow me just to read what I've written here.
Okay.
So the first one would then be the committee raised concerns around mental health services for women, youth, and persons with disabilities, as well as the sexual and reproductive rights of women and girls, given the high rates of GBV and femicide.
Yeah.
Then the second one is the committee was concerned about the increase in depression and anxiety, which is also increasing amongst women as a result of job losses and unemployment due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
Are we
fine? Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then maybe the things around the social workers and those things will come in the recommendations that the department must work with social development. Okay.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, honorable members, and thank you, Christelle. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Should I then go to the recommendations for the department?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's on page 23 then there, 6.1. So the department should provide the committee with a list of all legislation that is currently a priority. The department should re-advertise the national youth policy and extend the closing date for submission of public comments on the policy. The department was urged to prioritize legislation for persons with disabilities. The department should monitor representation of women in Chapter 9 institutions. The department should devise a strategy on how to reach women, youth, and people with disabilities in rural areas, and also to communicate in languages used in those areas. The department should also revive the wage bill that lapsed in 2014 and submit it to Parliament for further processing. The department should ensure that they invite all stakeholders in their sessions when engaging on the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide and the criteria for people to serve on the council. And then we need to add the one that we just spoke about now, that the department needs to increase its advocacy and awareness around mental health and wellness, and should explore working collaboratively with social development through social workers to provide services.
And then the one of the Department of Labor, also you must include, I'm sure it can be covered when or you want to put it separate?
It can be a separate one, Chairperson. Let the one be about the mental health and wellness, and then the other one can be around labor. Should.
What is the other? What is the other recommendation that you capture here?
Chairperson.
Yeah,
yeah, I think maybe before we go to the recommendation, especially on this one of labor, I'm not sure we captured it on the observation, because our observation must inform the recommendation.
No, she captured it now.
Okay, no, it's fine.
Yeah, Crystal, maybe because Honorable Malulega was having a challenge with her phone. May you tell her what did you say about the issue of Department of Labor?
Chair. Sorry, Chairman. I've got a problem, in fact, and I thought that Abo Christel will put the presentation on the screen, and I have to open the screen. I have to then participate in the meeting, because you remember I'm using my phone in terms of the internet to connect to the laptop. But however, so I'm struggling, sometimes I must go back, check where we are discussing, and come back and participate. I'm struggling. My phone, I'm only using my phone in terms of the link of the network. And also now I've realized that it's not loading the document that has been sent to us by Nelly. But however, I just saw immediately on the observation of the department, the issue of the Department of Labor, the department itself of women, youth, and persons with disabilities, monitoring and evaluation process in terms of the UIF by through the Department of Labor. I think Christelle or whoever must correct that. It must be clear when we speak of the UIF, which department are we talking about before we go to the recommendations. I think it's somewhere on the observation. The sentence only says the department monitoring and evaluation UIF. It's not clear that we must monitor the Department of Labor and Employment. Our people are unemployed and they are losing jobs. It must be clear that we are saying that the Department of Women and Youth and Persons with Disabilities must monitor the Department of Labor and Employment in terms of speeding up UIF processes.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, that means Christelle, in the observation, you need to capture it.
Yes, Trips. I'm going to see if I'm not sure if I can share my. Let me see.
Can the IT division assist you in flouting the report?
I hope so, Chairperson. I don't know whether, I don't think it's visible, Chairperson. I'm trying, but it's not.
Can they help?
It's invisible.
I can see the presentation. I have to literally zoom in with it to be able to read the words.
Just see if I can enlarge it. Is that making any difference at all, Member Sharif?
Yeah.
It's better.
Okay.
Much better.
Okay. Okay. So let me just add the one around level quickly. The department should monitor the Department of Labor and Employment so far as the processing of UIF.
No, Chairperson, Griselda, I
Yes?
don't think this one, are we still on observation?
I'm adding the observations, yes.
Yeah, but this one is going to be a recommendation. It can't be an observation because we say the Department of Women should monitor.
Okay, let me move it. But we have raised something around this. Oh yes, we've got it here. The committee wanted to know whether the department is monitoring and ensuring that UIF reaches the affected parties, example, women and persons with disabilities. So I'll just So I'll move this quickly to the recommendations. There we go.
But I think the one that you need to refine, write it right in correct English, is the one here. You have moved it.
At the observations, Chairperson.
Yes, observations, where you are talking about mental health, anxiety, depression and anxiety.
Okay, so I've got the committee was concerned about the increase in depression and anxiety.
The committee was concerned about the increase in depression and anxiety.
Yes, let me just remove that there. I was typing too fast. Amongst women as a result of job losses and unemployment due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, I think it's much better now. The committee.
Should I?
Yes.
Should I add what Honorable Masiko said around the students, tertiary integration, around the dropouts?
That's important because you see, even now, that's one of tertiary young women and young sitting youth or young women and students at tertiary institutions. That one must be in, because I remember some of them, they have fear of the unknown, because they don't know what is happening. It's for the first time also that we encounter a situation like this. And two, most children didn't have gadgets, and most children who was coming from rural areas, they don't have network. The data, I think government tried to meet them halfway by providing data to the students, but also online learning. It's not easy for some students. It's easy for those who are working with computers every day. I've seen it myself, that sometimes, the classes that I was attending through online learning, for my age also, it was difficult. If it was difficult for a person of my age, what about the young ones, who for the first time is getting introduced to the fourth industrial revolution of online learning? So it does have an impact one way or the other. So there is a need, of, but also even our communities introducing women to get used to this online things, even when buying groceries and so on. Honorable Masiko, introducing our people, like when you want to observe with social distance, encourage our people not to go to the malls, but to get used to their phones and order things to be delivered in their houses.
Yes.
It's a hassle. If our people, our women are not introduced to these things, COVID-19 will not stop, because every time our people will go there because they can't access internet to check. Me, I'm talking of the poor. Poor people, we believe in sales too much because it's because of unaffordability. We can't afford expensive things. So you believe we are physically in a shop and see ikhabishi namhlanje seli 10 cents elsasi seli 10 rand elsasi 20 rand. So introducing our people to a fourth industrial revolution in terms of online life also is another thing.
Okay. Chairperson,
as and when we talk, these things they come.
Yeah. Maybe
these things that they don't have them in their report, but we must find a way on how then do we introduce them to their report.
Yes, Chairperson. So maybe we have a thought around the messaging of around COVID.
My hands is up.
Okay.
But can we correct that sentence?
Which
There is
one,
a
honorable member?
repetition.
Okay, Ifunde, usho ipi?
Which one?
Honorable Mkweba.
This chair to the observations by Christelle. You can't write two sentences that speaks to the same issue. The issue of the mentality health facilities that Comrade your Honorable Masiko has raised, it must go back to the first sentence that speaks to all these other issues. There's a sentence. Can you open your screen so that I must help you? The bullet. Open your screen so that I must, because there's a repetition. Something is wrong with your network, colleagues. Please, can you ask the ICT to help us? Or is my laptop?
Why?
The screen is open.
No, on my side, it shows like something like Chinese words.
No, I think it's a problem on your side.
Honorable Chair, can the one that Honorable Masiko raised on the high tertiary institutions goes to that sentence, that the bullet before the one that Christelle was typing. It must be in one bullet because it speaks to same issues. It says that I can't see these things now.
Gwiba, can I perhaps read what I've added there, and then you can tell me whether it's
Yes,
still
but I
needs to be
can't
changed.
see.
So
Oh my
I've written, the committee was concerned about the increase in depression and anxiety amongst women as a result of job losses and unemployment due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
The committee was also concerned about the impact of COVID-19 on the mental wellness of youth at tertiary institutions. My apologies. Issues around access to data and network has compounded the situation.
Yeah, you're right.
Correct. It's correct, Chair.
It's correct.
No, Chairperson.
Maluleka.
Yes, I think maybe we need to have this other one, the last paragraph or the sentence, as another bullet, because the first one, it's on the anxiety of women as a result of job losses, ne?
Okay.
Yeah.
Due to the, and then we have another bullet, the committee, yes, that's correct, if it's like
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Very good. So. You're right. I'm a bullet I too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we? Can we move, Chips? Is it fine now? Then I think around we were busy with the recommendation around labor. So the department should monitor the Department of Labor and Employment insofar as the processing of UIF payments to women and persons Is that fine, or do you want to add anything else there? I know Ms. Ngoiba said something about fast tracking.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so where are we going to put the one of the department must say in doing advocacy and awareness? Must start
I've got it there before that one, Chairperson.
working with Department of Telecommunications.
Oh, okay.
Start introducing women on the for IR.
Okay.
How do we?
I can add it there that the department should engage with the Department of Telecommunications
Is one of you calling me or what?
Chairperson.
Hello.
I've added that one there. If I can just read it out. The department should engage with the Department of Telecommunications and Information on improving access to data and networks, as well as creating awareness and capacitating communities around the fourth industrial revolution.
Chair, may I please come in?
And then
Chair? Chair, can I just add to that recommendation, please?
yes.
Thank
You
you,
can-
Chair. So I think that the recommendation looks good, but I also want to stress that the importance of telecommunication infrastructure. I can tell you from my constituency, sometimes the problem may not be data, it's the actual connectivity. So there isn't enough infrastructure or communicating lines that is able to give network and connectivity to these devices. So I think we need to speak about the infrastructure as well. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson?
Yeah,
Chair?
Mhm.
Yeah, same on this one. I think maybe we need to look at it. I agree with Honorable Sheriff, but I think Griselda has captured it when she said access to data, networks. It's data, networks. And when we talk about networks, are we not talking about infrastructure?
No, I wouldn't say it's infrastructure. I would say networks would be MTN, Vodacom, Telkom, Cell C. Those are networks. They're not infrastructure.
Oh, all right. No, it's fine then. Okay.
Chairperson, are there any other recommendations that need to be added for the department?
Chairperson.
No, Yebo,
Thank you, Chairperson.
I'm being harassed by media people here. I'm being harassed by media people.
Chair,
Yebo.
siphuma singena network abisokolisa ndikwifowuni khona manje.
Ingcono nina niyaphuma nangena, mina I'm being harassed.
Sure. And then my hand it was up before I lost my network.
Okay, as Mam Sonti, khuluma kucala bese kuzoba bungcobo.
Ndiyabulela. Bendizawubonisa Chandas. I don't know if I'm right now, but I think I'm right because these people are for us, all the communities. In this case of 350 COVID-19 relief fund, they are getting it at the post offices, you know. But now my problem is the queues are too long and it's very cold. And then they are reversing each and every day. If somebody goes there, they're getting the messages from their phones so that they can come and get that money. But if they go there on that day, they just again they reversing them. No, go and come on that day. So after queuing a long line for the rest of the day, so I just want to ask, I don't know, there is no other way for those people to get this 350 rather than to go to the post office or post offices and make that a queue for a long time. in this cold, in this time of this pandemic, you know. And then number two, these offices also, they are robbed. Last week, the post office in Marikana has been robbed by the Tsotsis, the van when it's come with that money, you know. So there is those problems in this 350 fund. So I just want to highlight that, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay. Babu Ngobo?
Thank you, Chairperson. Under observations as a committee, we had noted the concern around the delays in the reopening of special needs schools. So I think that maybe we should also have a recommendation where we ask the department to monitor the reopening of special needs schools and ensure that they open safely. Thanks.
Okay.
Chair, can I just have a quick bite at this before we move on?
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to raise my concerns with the committee, and perhaps we may disagree to add this on the report, but nonetheless, I am very concerned at the mandate of the department. And I keep saying this, and the department tells us that they are an advocacy department, they are not an implementing partner department, and they don't necessarily work on the ground. I really feel that the department needs to relook at their mandate, because the work that they need to be doing needs to affect women's lives and youth and persons with disabilities directly. And I am not convinced, having served over 1 year in this committee dealing with this department, that their mandate is in fact something that, you know, women can look to for assistance. If I need assistance as a woman, I'm not going to go to the department, I'm going to go to the CGE. So I would recommend, and I would argue that the department needs to relook at their mandate and figure out what is the best way that they can become an implementing body and not just an advocacy, research, and oversight body, because that essentially is not doing anything for women and youth and persons with disabilities in this country, Chairperson. And people may disagree with me, and that's okay. I think disagreement is healthy for debate and pushing a progressive agenda. But at the end of the day, Chairperson, if the department cannot assist one woman, one young person, one person with disability, then they need to relook at their mandate, because they get so much money, and so much of their money is spent on program one, which is administration. I can't, and then they tell us that there's so many bills that they have to do, you know, they have to move the wedge bill, they have to do this, they have to do that. And when we ask them, they say that, you know, we'll have to come back with this information. It's unacceptable, Chairperson. So from my side, I would like to recommend that the department really look at their mandate to ensure that they are changing lives on the ground. Thank you, Chairperson.
Yeah, I think Honorable Masigo, what Honorable Sharif is raising now, if you remember, honorable members, we had a concern as the committee regarding the mandate of the department. On
Chair?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you may proceed.
Sorry?
Chair, I think the debate that is being raised by Honorable Sharif on the mandate of the department is a very valid argument that I think we all share the same sentiments, Chair. And I think on a number of occasions, we have expressed it in most of our portfolio committee meetings with the department. As to whether it is a view or an argument that should it be included in this report, Chairperson, I would say that maybe it's something that we should have also considered when we were dealing with the department's strat plan, as well as the strat plan. And I think what was important, Chairperson, about the invitation that the department had sent to us was to give us a platform as members of this portfolio committee to engage and assist the department in correctly channeling their funds in terms of addressing the responsibilities of the department, which also speaks to the mandate of the department. But I don't think, Chair, that we should be really including it in this report, but I also stand to be guided by this meeting. Thanks, Chair.
Chair.
Able.
Listen, I think what has been said by Comrade Honorable Masiko, I agree with it fully. Definitely, it has been discussed by the portfolio committee meetings. In fact, in all the portfolio committees, it must not be infused to the report. And in the report, we must always talk to issues, and issues that are administratively, we must deal with them at the portfolio committee with the department. So we can't put that on this report. Thank you.
Chairperson.
Able.
Chairperson, in fact, I would argue that the mandate of the department is in fact an administrative situation, because it is where they change the outlook and the, what the department wants to be doing. So I would argue, in fact, that it is an administrative issue. However, if the committee agrees not to put it on this report, I won't fight about it, but I just wanted to raise it, Chairperson.
No, I want to remind all of you, if you remember, we are discussing a report of the department, and then the issue of the mandate, it couples with the measure of issues of of disabled people. In one of the meetings, we also discussed that how is the department going to process the measure of disabled issues from Department of Social Development to the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. Even now, when we are talking about this issue, it made me to go back and think that there was a problem that we raised with the department. Even today, when Christelle was presenting the report, I was thinking about issues of disabled, a program on the people living with disabilities that we said in the last financial year, they must not take a financial the funds for that program of disabled people from the Department of Social Development, because already the Department of Social Development was already using those funds for that program. But what they need to do is to bring a report on things that the Department of Social Development said they are doing on the disabled program. So one way or the other, we need to have a bullet that will talk to that issue in terms of their measure, because it's not very much clear, unless my memory is not serving me well today. We must know exactly how are they going to coordinate the work streams of disabled people into their department. Because if they are a Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities, What is it that they are doing? Is the department not budgeting for disabled people? Or is Department of Social Development the only one that is budgeting for disabled people? Maybe Christel also, you must assist us with regards to that point, because we really need to have something that we will coin in a sense that the department must find a way on how do they feature in issues of disabled people in a manner that they are seen dealing with issues of disabled people. Because if we leave it and we don't capture it in our report, that means we are neglecting issues of people with disabilities. But I also need our staff to help us on what did they say. Because this issue of the mandate, it comes back, because if we have discussed it in a meeting, we must find a way that the department needs to define clearly how are they going to deal with issues of disabled people and youth. I don't know. I think we need to put something, because it's not something that we did not raise with them. It's something that we have raised with them. So Bona, all what they need to do is to go back to the drawing board, look at how they have structured their mandate, and then come back to us and say, maybe this is how we have revised our mandate. This is how we're going to do things. As we must find a better way of addressing it in our report. Okay.
Yeah, I think I hear what members are saying, and you know, I think the not the concern, but the problem is that at the moment, what we're putting down here in this report is only supposed to be based on the 3 meetings that we've had. So the meeting we had with the department, the CGE, and the NYDA. So we may not have raised all those issues in those particular meetings. We might have had it in discussions before and in other committee meetings. So I think maybe the issue around the disability issues or matters, we've got this observation here that we commented around person with disabilities feeling excluded. And so maybe there's a way that we can strengthen this observation and then include a recommendation on that, because I don't think we can put the thing around that they need to go back or give us a report on the relationship with social development in the report in that way at the moment. I think that is a discussion for a different meeting perhaps, but based on the discussion that we had with them, these were the issues in particular that were raised with regards to personal disabilities. These were the issues that were captured. So it's either then that we strengthen this here and say in here that more attention needs to be given to issues affecting and relating persons with disabilities, and we then have a recommendation around that. So that's all that I can propose for us in terms of this in this particular report. But I mean, I take guidance from Chair and from members.
Yeah, and then later on what we need to do, we need to write to them, ne? and about the discussion now we are talking to, so yes, that we are able to assist them. I think that one it's gonna cover us. What do you think?
Chair. Chair.
We are seeing that we are gonna leave our bullet as is.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've done it, but I think what we need to do is to write to the department so that they tell us on the strategy that they are going to use in dealing with the department, the work streams that are done by Department of Social Development and so on. I think it's one thing that we must prioritize. Ne?
Yes, Chairperson.
Yeah.
So, Chair, you have captured it correctly. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Chair, if I go back to our recommendations, then are we concluding our recommendations for the department?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
Chair.
Ma'am Hlengwa?
No, it's Ma'am Son.
Oh, Ma'am Son.
Sorry, Chair. I was out of order now about that issue I was raising, because even on those lines now I'm talking about, these persons with disabilities, they are there. They are struggling there. So, I don't know.
Repeat yourself, Ma'am Son. Pinda lento boyisho. Ipinde ba.
Leben you shop before or now?
Yeah, level or to boyisho before.
Okay.
Captured now.
It's the problem of the queues at the post offices to get the 350 COVID-19 relief fund. Is there any way for these people to get that money instead of those queues? Because they are on those queues for the whole day, and then they don't get that money on that day. They will repeat to go every time. And then on those people, there are those who are disabled, Chairperson.
Oh, when about criminal for disabled people,
Yes,
yes, not being
yes, the communities, and including those people who are disabled. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, delay. I hope what we can do also, Christelle, is to write to Department of Social Development. As a committee, we have a concern that disabled people, they are made to stand in long queues and not being prioritized when they are going to end their grant. Ne? Grant.
Yes, this grant, this grant, the special grant, Chairperson.
Okay, no, we'll write to them, I'm sorry.
Thanks very much.
Of agency. Christelle, that one you must, and Tasnim, may you please
Chair. Chair, I think it's not happening in all the areas. In our area here, the disability people are in front. If they don't queue, they don't make a queue, Chairperson.
Oh, yeah.
That is why I'm skeptical if we are taking it in this recommendation.
Masondo.
Yes.
Asifaki report yethu.
Oh.
Umamsondi uraise what is happening in the area. So,
thank you.
Issue we must assist, because ayenzakali nalakithi eGauteng abantu abakhubazekile, they are being prioritized.
Yes.
Ababona nasemabhenki bayaba-prioritize, bayaphambili.
Yes.
Nalakithi eGauteng kwenzakala kanjalo. But area yakhe where she is residing, kunaleyo challenge. So that's why I'm saying we will write a letter to the Department of Social Development. Yabo? Ukuthi siraise a concern. Umamsonti uzosinikeza a full detail area ukuthi where is it happening, so that the Department of Social Development will send people to go and inspect and assist. Yeah, we are covered, Angit. Masondo?
Chairperson?
Yeah, covered, Angit.
Chair, I'm covered. I understand.
Yeah, noma msodi bengizama ukum-explainela ukuthi sizo asifake yethu report, but what we are going to do will assist her because it's not a national problem. It's happening in her area. Okay.
Chair.
Piri.
Okay.
I've been raising my hand for long.
But,
come again.
Azangu resistance.
I haven't wrote to the message box, but it's fine. Chair, as I agree with all observations and recommendations, as much as we have started to, now it's an issue of emergency in terms of COVID-19. And on the recommendation, I was of a proposal or a suggestion that we must put a time frame. As much as we are living in a condition where we need, it's an agency of telecom or using and on that recommendation, I was suggesting to the committee, can we put a time frame maybe to say on the department who are going to engage with the telecommunication department, can they give us a report or a progress of how they've engaged maybe in the next coming sitting, because it's an emergency thing. If we can just make a vague statement without a time frame, it might sound we're just talking for no reason. But we are unique. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, 100%. You are 100% correct. In fact, we were looking at the recommendations and the observations first, and thereafter we'll give them timeframes. So what you are saying, you are correct. We must give them timeframes. So what we can do now, we can look at timeframes. Tasneem, can you give you usually we give them 4 weeks, isn't it, Christelle?
Yes, Chairperson, I think that's a fair request. Yes, if you give them a month, basically 4 weeks to get back to us.
So if we are agreeing that we need, we give them 4 weeks to all the recommendations that you are going to write. What are you saying, honorable members?
I think it's fair enough. Thanks, Chair.
Okay.
Chair.
Able?
Umasiko, I also think it's fair enough, but we do have other recommendations where we had proposed 2 weeks. I remember the one with CGE in terms of the filling of the post for the 2 commissioners. We had given them 2 weeks.
Yeah, that one don't change. Yeah. That one don't change. Yeah. Gary, when you give recommendations, you look at the matter, the merit of the matter, so that you don't give them a time frame. It's not practical. You give them time frames that you can see, but these ones are practical. So with the CGE, we still stand 2 weeks that we gave them, because we can't give them another time. Remember, they were supposed to have done it. So that one still live like that. You must also check my recommendations as well in Zilela. It still stands in 2 weeks. Okay, we're satisfied now. Christelle and Tasneem, the time frame is 4 weeks. So 4 weeks, you can tell us which 4 weeks it and then we can. Sorry. When is 4 weeks?
Chair, it would have to be 4 weeks from the adoption of the report. If it was 4 weeks from today, then it's the 17th of August, but we will have to wait for the adoption. So Crystal has outlined to say 4 weeks from the date of publishing of this report.
Okay. All right, thank you. Agreed, ne? Let's move to the next one, NYDA.
Okay. So on page 21, the observations for the NYDA begin there at 5.2. So the first one is the committee commended the NYDA for the presentation and the inclusion of young people with disabilities. However, the committee was concerned that the budget on the creation of jobs program has been reduced by 16 million and that 2 million reduced on research and requested that the NYDA give reasons for the budget adjustments. The committee also requested the NYDA to extend the date of submission on comments to the National Youth Policy to ensure that all stakeholders can submit their comments. The committee noted that the NYDA will create immediate jobs and wanted to know what those jobs are and how soon they can be created. The committee also inquired as to what are the interventions to provide women and youth with skills and employment. The committee wanted to know the plans of the NYDA in relation to COVID-19 and communication strategies to create awareness to ensure that young people are safe during the pandemic. The committee questioned what, if any, role the NYDA has played in facilitating mental health and wellness facilities for young people. It also inquired whether the NYDA was addressing issues of rape culture and GBV in schools. The committee inquired as to whether the NYDA has done research on the hemp industry as an industry that could create employment for young people. The committee noted that the NYDA conducts online and face-to-face training and requested clarity on how this was being done in the context of COVID-19. The committee also inquired about who bears the cost for online training. The NYDA indicated that its workforce operated at 50% capacity for safety and social distancing as required by COVID-19 regulations. The committee inquired how this impacts on service delivery to youth and whether all offices were currently open. The NYDA indicated that all of its offices except Ntata office, which was closed due to a positive COVID-19 case, are currently operational. They encourage youth to call the various offices for inquiries prior to visiting to ensure that there is no congestion. Sorry, Chairperson, my son wants attention. The committee noted. The committee noted that the NYDA is implementing the 1,000 businesses in 100 days campaign and requested progress on the campaign. The committee also noted that partnerships with CETA have been reduced from 8 to 4 and inquired whether these partnerships has financial implications in terms of establishing partnerships with CETA. The committee was concerned that the number of young people capacitated to enter the job market has been reduced from 15,000 to 5,000. The committee also inquired as to whether the agency started to plan beyond the COVID-19 period. The committee wanted to know the role of the NYDA in assisting unemployed graduates. The committee noted that the NYDA has been allocated a seat on the economic workstream of Nat Joins to support initiatives for youth development and wanted to know the initiatives conducted on the economic workstream. The committee also inquired as to how many people with disabilities benefited from the programs of the NYDA. The committee also wanted to know how does the NYDA ensure that youth and people with disabilities benefit from the COVID-19 relief grant, especially those in rural areas. The committee also inquired as to the negative impact of budget cuts to services provided to youth, especially those in rural areas. So those are the observations for the NYDA. If there's any amendments that need to be made, members can indicate.
Yeah. So Honorable members, that's the report. Can I get hands? So far, we have captured everything that we raised in our meeting. Any addition or subtraction? Silence means everything is captured.
Okay, Chair, then I will move to
Correct.
Okay, then I will move to the recommendations for the NYDA.
Yeah. You just have to clean it.
Yes, Chairperson, when we've completed everything, I will accept all the changes, and then we'll have a final document that I'll submit.
Yeah, all right. Let's go to CGE.
Just start the NYDA recommendations, Chairperson.
Sorry, did Honorable Ngobo speak?
Yes, I did, Chairperson.
Oh, it's the time media people were harassing me. Sorry.
Yes,
that's a problem.
Yeah. We're fine with NYDA. All the things that we observed, we have captured. And the only thing that. So what? Should. Oh yeah. Even the recommendations.
Sorry, Chair. Just on the recommendations, Christelle, if you can take out in the first bullet, take out that they should also partner with just say partnering with the Department of Health and Health, Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. Take out they should and say partnering with these departments as you have written on the report. So that, yes, and then partnering with the Department of Health, what, yes, thanks.
All right. The second one, the NYDA should prioritize issues of land, agriculture and mining to ensure that young people have access and can benefit from these programs. The NYDA should work with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to deal with issues related to artists.
Yeah.
And the NYDA should meet with the Department of Communication and Technology to discuss issues related.
Why do you say it's creative? Because what do they call it? The right way they call it, they said what? Creative arts, or they say artists only. How do they call it?
I'm not sure I can find the right words, Chairperson.
Yeah, I'm not sure of myself whether this we must say artists or creative arts or whatever. I'm not familiar with those things, né?
Okay,
but I think it talks to what we want.
Okay, I'll fix that one afterwards.
Okay.
And then the last one there, the NYDA should meet with the Department of Communication and Technology to discuss issues relating to communications, infrastructure and connectivity so as to ensure access for youth, particularly in rural areas. So this is similar to the one we had for the department as well.
Yeah.
Is there any other recommendation that needs to be included?
Connectivity and data.
Okay.
Angisho sisho njalo. Khumbulani ukuthi abantu basemakhaya nedatha abanayo nayikhumbula.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah.
I think
Yes,
in fact, sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
I think if I still remember, and I'm looking in my notes on the 9th, Honorable Masiko said, the release of the spectrum by the communication department, especially ICASA.
Okay.
But Christelle will find ways of writing it. It must be clear the release of the spectrum by the communication department. Thanks.
Okay. All right, let's go to CGE. We are satisfied, ne?
Yes, we are satisfied.
Okay. And then coming to CGE.
Yes, Chairperson. So the observations for CGE. Excuse me, Chair.
Sheriff.
Yes, Chair.
You heard what we were talking about, ne?
Yes, Chair. I'm listening.
Yeah. We're fine. I thought maybe you'll give us a word on that one of artists, because I'm not even sure whether it's artists or they're saying creative arts or whatever.
Chairperson, Crystal must just use her thesaurus there on words. She'll get a synonym to use, Chairperson.
Okay.
But the other word is a creativity, creative art.
Oh,
Yes,
creative arts.
I'll find the correct term and include it there, Chairperson.
Okay, sure. Okay. Will you ask the department, the portfolio committee for law, ne?
Yes,
for
Chairperson.
culture, what do they, how do they name them? Okay. And then on CGE?
CGE, from the bottom of page 22, 5.3 there. The observations, the committee commended the Commission for Gender Equality on ensuring that their targets planned have not been changed. The committee was concerned that the CGE's budget was reduced by 10 million, particularly given that gender-based violence has been pronounced as a second pandemic by the President. The committee inquired as to how does the Commission choose topics when conducting its research. The committee inquired as to whether there are any plans to continue with the Boy Child program, as this is important to deal with issues related to gender-based violence and femicide. The committee was concerned that the Commission has concentrated more on the public sector in ensuring gender equality representation in boards compared to the private sector. The committee noted with concern that the CGE reduced the budget for filling of vacancies in order to finance its COVID-19 budget. So those were the key observations there. Please, if we've missed anything or if there's anything that's been added, members are welcome to highlight this.
Who is Buntu G-Money?
Chair.
Who is Buntu?
Chair.
Ebo?
He is the interpreter, Chair, for isiXhosa.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, here are the observations for CGE. So, Crystal, what is, because now we say we have commended them that their targets have not been changed, and then the committee was what?
The committee, because we members all raised the concerns about they already had a small budget, and now that's been reduced by 10 million, and given that the gender-based violence was pronounced as a second pandemic by the President, what is the implications of that reduction for their service delivery? So that was the second part of that bullet there, Chair, that we're concerned that the CGE's budget was reduced by 10 million, particularly given that gender-based violence has been pronounced as a second pandemic by the President. And maybe I should add there, and that this would impact
No, I want that what we want is that bullet must also talk to the underfunding. Yes, you're right. We are concerned that the reduction of 10 million, but also we have a concern of CGE is underfunded. So taking that 10 million also, it's having a negative impact towards their budget. You know?
So I'll make it a second separate bullet, Chairperson, and say that firstly the committee was concerned about that part about the reduction. Then I will put there that the commission remains.
Okay. What you can put here is that the CGE is underfunded.
Yes.
And yeah, the committee is concerned. Remember, it's something that we always complain about. So
yes,
it must reflect that it's not that it's underfunded now, but
yes,
it's a continuous thing that CGE is underfunded. So and it's even worse.
Yeah.
Now
Yes,
that
yes,
they've
yes.
also reduced their budget with 10 million. And so especially this time of high rate of GBVF, gender-based violence and femicide, it's making things very difficult for CGE to be able to execute their duties with the amount that is allocated for them. Does that make sense?
Yes, Chairperson.
Honorable Maluleka, what do you think?
Yeah, Chairperson, I think you are right, and the way Griselda captured it, I think it makes sense. Even though, Chairperson, my concern when we are still on this one, I was just thinking, are we doing this report for the budget adjustment?
No.
Oh, okay. No.
No.
That's fine.
This report, are we still gonna do another report, Christelle, for adjustment, or we're doing one report for both?
This is the adjustment report, Chairperson.
Yeah.
So remember we had done one earlier in the year based on the
adopted
APP and
the
clear
other
plan
one.
from there. Yes.
Yeah, we adopted the other one. Very well, dealing with adjustment budgets, Joyce.
Okay, that's right.
Yes, why confuse her? If it's because we're debating the one adopted already.
No, it's fine, Chairperson.
Yeah.
Chair.
Yeah, Bo?
Chair.
Yes, you can speak.
Okay, can I ask something, Chairperson?
Yeah, Bo?
This 10 million rand, abayi-reducile bayikhupha laphaya kwi-CGE. What was the reason for that? Because u-CGE, oko besikhuluma ngaye sisithi nguyena osebenza ngamandla, more especially kwelesikhathi samanje. Uyaqonda? So, mabayiphungula beyithatha beyisusa, why? Beyisa kuphi?
Okay, when I'm Sonti, I'm going to blame him over that question because ngalesikhathi sidila ngayo bone a serious problem yokugulela umntwana. I-reason yokuthi kuba nama reduction in all the
it's displayed on your iPad.
What now? Usuri nangakhuluma ngamkhombanga ngamcelanga nokuthi akhulume. I-reason yokuthi yenza ama-reduction, khumbula ukuthi manje ngalesikhathi se-COVID kudingakala imali, ne? And u-government vele beyangana enough resources to fund issues of COVID. So what they've done, they have requested all departments ukuthi they must look at they must reprioritize their budgets, and then in each and every budget and every department and entities, they were taking some monies from budgets so that they can be able to fund other activities as a corner for government, and also for dealing with issues the COVID, because it's something that government so that's why government uyaphuma futhi ayoboleka nemali ngaphandle. So the reason ke bebathathela wonke umuntu, meaning bebathathela all the departments and entities. If we are bigger, konke nakubo SAA no Eskom ufuna extra money and so on, but bebazama ukuthi bathathe everywhere, but nje for ukuthi babone ukuthi yiphi imali abangaba nayo bakhona ukuyisebenzisa kwezinye izinto. Yeah, azange bathathele yona kuphela. Ne-NYDA nayo inayo i-reduction eningi futhi.
Okay, Chair. All right.
Yeah. So okay. So so I think we have captured it correct, ne? And the value, it's been a concern, honorable members, CGE was not funded like other Chapter 9 institutions. So now I think it's time that a National Treasury must revise in the manner and the model that they are using to fund CGE.
Sorry, Chair.
Yeah. Crystal, you heard what I said, ne? For our recommendation.
Yes, Chairperson, I've written it down here.
Yeah, National Treasury must review the model that they are used in terms of allocation of funds to CGE.
Yes, Chairperson.
Because the Department of Women, it's not them who allocate, but if funding CGE, it's coming through the Department of Women.
Yes, Chairperson.
So the Department of Women must, National Treasury is the one who must review the model that they are used to fund CGE. Okay, yes. Honorable Weber.
I will just no. I think I'm covered by you, but as well in our report, Christelle, can you then use has been instead of was reduced? Has been reduced, you know, in terms of all the reports. For example, avoid using was reduced. Instead, has been reduced.
Yeah, akasi consistent kwezinye uyambhalo has been kwezinye ubhala
in fact ayivakali report yethu xa ithiwa was reduced, because it's like it's an old report, has been in all the reports, in all our Lantica observations, and you know, of the entities, and also the department must use who has been instead of was.
Yeah. And when you are cleaning, you must check for consistency purposes on how have you captured other bullets, and yes. Write it correctly. Where you put a bullet, you put a bullet. Where you bold, you bold. So that in other places you must not bold. Other places you didn't bold, so that it can be professional. Yeah.
Yes, Chairperson, I'll do all those checks afterwards. I just want to get all the content right first. I can fix up the other stuff afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. So then those are the other. Those are all the observations that we had for the CGE in relation to the budget and the APP. If there's anything else that that members feel needs to be added in terms of observations. Right. Should I move to the...
There are other things that you want to add, honorable members? Masondo? Honorable Masondo?
Yes, Chair. I don't want to add anything. I don't want to spoil. It's still on track.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Sheriff? Sheriff? Sheriff, you ran away from the meeting.
Chairperson, I'm so sorry. My connection cut, and so I had to re-log back on as Chair.
Okay. We're busy with CGE. What I'm asking honorable members is whether our concerns or our observations have been captured accordingly, or there are other things that members want to add on. Babu Ngobo? Honorable Ngobo?
No, I think that the observations, Chair, have been captured correctly. I'm covered with the boy-child initiative. Thanks.
Was there no issue about disabled people with the CGE?
Yes, there was with the issue of Mam Mazibugo. So,
Yes, where we were talking about reasonable accommodation.
yes.
Other commissioners.
Chairperson, if I can respond there, I think that is an administrative issue that's internal to the CGE, and it's not something that we have to include in this report particularly.
Yeah, but our 2 weeks still remains, ne?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, and then the other one? Fast tracking of the filling in the CEO position. It must be covered here.
Chairperson.
Yeah, Bo.
Yeah, Griselda, I think what we are writing now should go to the recommendation. But on the observation is that the committee,
yes,
yeah, the committee observed the
appointment
of the CEO.
Sorry.
Absent. Yeah, then this one would come to the recommendation. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Mamela, you must add something, Lana Guyone, that in case they don't finalize appointments by end of July, they need to appoint an acting person.
Okay, so that should go out with the recommendation, Chairperson.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I think I think they are fine. Anything else, honorable members? Honorable Masiko.
I think report here, CGE was quite easy for us in terms of them not really changing any of their targets. So I'm happy with what has been presented and captured by the report. Thank you.
Honorable Shlomo. Honorable Shlomo. Is Honorable Shlomo in the meeting?
Chair.
Evo.
Can I come in? She sent me a message to say that there was load shedding in her area. She couldn't log in. I think it was going to end about, I'm not sure whether it's 11 or 11:30.
Yeah, ngizovuma no chief makati ama member mawahamba eCape Town. Honorable Phiri. Honorable Phiri. Honorable Phiri, so hambile meeting in.
No, I'm here. I'm just with the network.
Oh, but you were part of the meeting, by the way.
No, I'm here, Chair.
Yeah, I was checking. I was checking if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, yes, Chair. It's not an addition, but I just feel the last recommendation I think it's not last, but on the issue.
Yeah, Ash, I like this one that you are writing. The one that the committee noted that the commission would be undertaking research on gender-based violence and femicides, as well as other ad hoc research as used on COVID-19 matters. Yeah. Yeah, remember we agreed that they need to publish those articles. Yeah, and they also sent us the approved articles, ne? So
Yes,
all
sure.
need to tell us, they need to publish all those articles and give us a date, dates, when are they publishing them? Yeah, that one, yeah.
So then in terms of the recommendations, Chairperson, these are the recommendations for the CGE, that they were urged to conduct research on agriculture and partner with institutions such as the NYDA to encourage youth and young women to participate in the agricultural sector. That they should share the findings of gender-based violence and femicide research as well as any other ad hoc research undertaken with the committee. They were cautioned and encouraged to ensure that all necessary protocols are in place for staff safety at offices during the COVID-19 pandemic to enable services to continue. That they should ensure that communities in rural areas who do not have access to infrastructure such as data, telephone services, and poor or no network are covered when conducting programs during the COVID-19 period. They should ensure that there is gender equal representation in boards in the private sector, and that the committee urged the Commission to fast-track the filling of the CEO position. In the event that the process is not completed by the end of July, the Commission should appoint an acting CEO. So those were our recommendations for the CGE.
Chair, can I just add one thing on the recommendations?
Oh, you can add. You can add.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I was just waiting to be noted. I think it's important that in the meeting we spoke about how the CGE will do oversight on the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. And I just think that something should be added to the recommendations to ensure that the CGE create a oversight and monitoring and evaluation model in order to ensure implementation of the NSP. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, yes. Yeah, in fact, we need to have an observation. It's that one we nearly miss it, eh? We nearly miss it. The committee was concerned on how CGE is going to monitor and evaluate the implementation of NSP framework.
Yes, Chair, I'm going to add the observation now. I just want to quickly type the recommendation, then I'm going to go back to the observations.
Yeah. Mam Sondi.
Thank you, Chairperson. Bendizothi ndibulela kulaa ndawo ithi commission should ensure that there is a gender equal representation in boards in the private sector. Also, the person with disabilities must be there on those and on that board. They must be there. And the last thank you of the closing of a liquor in this time of lockdown. Thank you for that. Because I think all of us were complaining about the opening of the liquor in this session of COVID-19. So thank you because it's closed again.
Yeah, so in fact, we should pay ourselves because as the portfolio, we also wrote a submission to the team that the ban of cigarettes. Nakona, we wrote a submission, and the ban of alcohol. We raised concerns after the unbanning of the alcohol. There was a lot that was happening. The stress levels of that they have experienced health institutions is the same stress levels that women were experiencing. Domestic violence started to increase, issues started to increase, and so on and so on. We made a submission also as a portfolio committee. That one, it's not here, ne? It's not here, that one. But Tina Umamsondi is just highlighting on the other things that are positive, that as the portfolio committee, we also raised.
Yeah, it's our congratulations because we won. We won.
Yeah. Anything else?
Chairperson andimbonanga Mama Koti, where is she?
Angamboni nala listing.
Batum. I didn't communicate with her today.
Neliswa. My apologies. Mhlambe senze mistake azange ngifuna ama apologies.
No, Chair, I haven't received apology from her.
Yeah?
I have not received apology from her.
I always remind her because I forget to do it.
Yeah, because the challenge it's to work.
Yeah, I forget to do it. I normally remind her.
Okay. I nearly want to correct this thing. Okay, these are the only things, ne?
Yes, Chairperson, I've added the one around Treasury. And I think that's all, and then there's the conclusion. So if members are happy, I will clean up the document and make all the amendments and send it to Neliswa for tabling after members adopt.
The committee remains committed in ensuring that astute oversight is conducted on the department. The Commission for English people. Are you reading conclusion?
Yes, I think it's correct, Chairperson, because it says we have to do oversight on the department, the Commission of Gender and Gender Equality, and the National Youth Development Agency. It's okay.
Yup.
Yeah, Chairperson.
Yeah, Bob.
My chair. I
Yeah,
didn't hear about the early pregnancy child and what else? I forget now. It was two. Okay, about ukuthwala.
This time bebangekho bakuleya report yethu yokuqala.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, to miss the meetings, it's
This time we were
not
dealing njengama adjustment budgets
alright.
wabo, but ama
Okay.
targets wabo, they are still the same. They haven't changed their targets.
Okay.
So for as long as bangachinja ama targets wabo, it's fine. But if they have changed their targets.
Okay, Chair.
Yeah. I think this is more than enough, honorable members, ne? Well, but we've captured a lot, Mam Sont.
Chair Advanga.
We have captured a lot.
All
So,
right.
manje masiceda the meeting, uneliswa no Crystal no Tasnim mhlambe ke wena ungabani uneliswa uzakufonela so that you give them the details of the area where disabled people are experiencing challenges when they are going to get their grant, so that we submit that that letter to the Department of Social Development.
Okay, Chair.
Yeah, and yeah, I think those are that is what is outstanding. But in terms of what we're supposed to have done today, I think we have done justice to our report. And then we are looking forward to our, let me get a mover for the adoption of the report, Mam Sonti. Mam Sonti, can we get a mover for the adoption of the report and to get a seconder for the adoption of the report?
Okay, Chair.
We are done of adopting, we are adopting our report now, okay. Okay, Mam Sonti? Mam Hlengwa?
Thank you, Chair. I am seconder of the adoption of this report. If Mam Soti is moving.
Yeah. Oh, Mam Soti.
Chairperson.
We are moving for the adoption of our report.
Mama move, hey.
Umuvile.
Mamuvile.
Yebo.
Oh.
Mamhlengwa is seconding that.
Oh, uthi Mamhlengwa uyasekonda. Honorable Mgweba. Nazli.
Thank you, Chairperson. Please note that.
Sorry?
Chairperson, please note the opposition to the amendment budget by the DA.
The what?
Chairperson, we oppose the amendment budget. The DA, please note it.
Oh, you oppose the amendment. Okay, but now we want.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I support the report with all the amendments from members of the Portfolio Committee. Thank you.
You are moving for adoption?
Yes, with all the amendments from the Portfolio Committee members. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Mgweba. Mamhlengwa, faneke na uyisho njengoba.
Yes. I'm seconding the adoption of the report with all amendments.
Of the budget adjustment.
Of the budget adjustment. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. We note the we note the reservation of the DA.
Mina tulile.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. EFF is quiet. Okay. Thank you very much, honorable members, for the work that we have done. It's not easy to deal with all these things at a shorter space, but we have done justice to our report. We managed to deal with critical issues that we wanted to raise, and we are satisfied in the manner in which the departments have tried their level best, even though it was not easy for them to see where are they going to reduce their budgets and so on. But they've tried their level best, even in issues that we have raised as members of parliament, to say, but we feel here that maybe you should have done it this way. But according to what we have done now, I think we have done our justice. We have done justice in doing our oversight work. And hopefully what they are going to do, they are going to do as they have said. But we are going to continue doing oversight on monitoring and on the things that they said they are going to implement, and also advise the department and the entities and the Chapter 9 institution on things that they said they are going to do, and where we think maybe they're not doing enough, we'll also invite them to Parliament, and so that they can come and explain to us where we see shortfalls. Thank you very much, honorable members, for your attendance and for your participation. I think we'll see you next week. Next week, we are debating the budget, the first budget report that we have adopted. If you heard when we were discussing now, they said with this report, we are going to have questions according to the program of Parliament. This one we're not going to debate, but what is going to happen? It's a question session where members will be allowed to ask questions to the ministers in relation to this report that we're dealing with today. So I'm sure if you want any clarity regarding the program, then you can also ask me before we adjourn our meeting. But wishing you well, that you observe social distance, you wear your mask, keep educating our families, our communities, our neighbors, that they must prevent themselves by wearing their masks every time. And as we do our parliamentary work and oversight in places where we're residing and in our constituencies, let's observe things that we think they are not done right by our communities, but also educate them. In some instances, you'll find that when people, you ask them, why are you not wearing your mask? A person will be very rude and answer you anyhow. But, you know, we need to be patient.
Others just laugh to you.
Yeah, you know, and they don't see that they are putting their lives at risk. But it's something that is new. And we, all of us, we don't know how long will it take for us to be in this a problem of COVID. For as long as there is no cure, maybe we need to continuously advise our people, our families to safeguard themselves rather than exposing themselves. But also, washing of hands, it's important. Sanitizing is important.
Sorry, Chair, it's very important, the washing of hands. But in my area, the lack of water, it's a challenge.
Yeah,
there's no water.
American.
You can't believe if I open my gate every time to help the people with my water in my tap.
Sure.
All the community. There is no water.
Mhlambe naleyo futhi mhlambe tshela uNelisa ukuthi kuyiphi area sibona ukuthi Department of Water nayo asikhona ukubathumela a letter to at least try something, whether they organize the tanks and so on.
There were the tanks, Chairperson, you remember, but if not one tank here in my ward.
Oh, okay.
During this pandemic, they are distributing the tanks in Madiben, Northwest. I have nothing, even one tank here in my community.
Oh, okay. Ngicela ukuthi ke ma ukhulume noNeliswa, and then we will forward the letters accordingly as required and as requested by our own members. But thank you very much, honorable members. We'll see you next week, Mam Hlengwa. You know, when we are debating, you'll see even other people who are not part of the committee coming to debate. And sometimes it becomes another thing, but because they are there in Parliament, they are going to debate. Honorable Sheriff, I'm sure you're going to debate, ne? Though this time our minutes, all of us are less, ne? But we'll see you next week. Good luck to all of those who are going to debate.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Just remember, it's all love. It's all love, Chair.
Okay. I love you all, honorable members. Stay safe, ne?
Member Sheriff Chair wants to attack us, but disguising it by love. So more next week.
Comrade,
will also attend to her accordingly with love.
Comrade like that.
No, it's not in bad spirit. Eh? Yeah, thank you very much. And we
with love, Chair, she has said.
Yeah, we in our committee we are a team.
I will be there.
Yeah,
I will be there. I'll be waiting.
Comrade, Anjalo.
As a team.
Yeah.
Work as a team.
Yeah.
Mama, Son.
Criticism is acceptable. Constructive criticism is acceptable.
Yes.
Constructive one.
Hello.
Next time. Next time ungaboti uthule emeetingini ubo participate wawugqiba adopt report. Bye bye mama.
Bye bye mntana.
Ubo participate wawugqiba adopt report yakho.
Bye sithandwa sam.
Okay,
with love, with love, with love.
With love, mama.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Enjoy your weekend.
You too, Chair.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, Mamhlengwa.
Bye.
Bye, Baba Ngobo. Bye-bye.
I miss you. Ndike ndava umuntu esithi bye Nhlanhla girl.
Ubani lo yasho njani? Yazi nakaka kodwa.
Nhlanhla girl. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Ayifani ne-laptop. At least 11:47. Phuphu,